All right, this is going to be part one, or maybe part two, or whatever, of the Articles of Confederation versus the Constitution and the nature of the founding of our nation. So first of all, before we get into all that other stuff, let's talk about the founding of our nation and how it came about. In Massachusetts, during the early, the late 18th century, there was a lot of taxes going on and tariffs and things that were going back and forth. And so what ended up happening was there was a lot of um, I guess I'm going to cover the Revolutionary War in like a half in this video, and then I'll move on to the next one. So what happened was, during that time there was a massacre, and then there was a trial, and then there was some rule changes that happened, or more laws that were passed from King George about taking people back to England to be tried and things like that. And at that point, the Continental Congress was formed. And the purpose of the Continental Congress was for the reconciliation of the colonies to Great Britain, to the king, and trying to settle those grievances. It was not a revolutionary group at first. There was elements of revolutionaries at the time, but that was not the general consensus. So during this time, there was actually an occupation. Martial law was declared in Massachusetts. Um, and then there was battles going on, actually, between British troops and what would have been viewed at the time as, um, I guess in today's terms, terrorists. They were revolutionary, I guess, militias. There were groups of folks that were fighting and agitators, and many of them were known as the Sons of Liberty. And these guys were, um, a lot of them were loosely formed individual cells that didn't really communicate with each other all that much. But there was fighting going on, battles, small battles. There weren't really battles, all-out battles. Then came the Battle of Lexington and Concord. And what that was not part of the Revolutionary War. That was the British coming to confiscate the firearms and guns. And when I say guns, I mean cannons, real, honest to God artillery, okay, that was being stored at Lexington and Concord there. So they were coming to disarm the people, and they were fought off. And as some of you may remember, that's where the story of Samuel Whitmore comes out. Which, if you haven't heard that, you need to go and check out Samuel Whitmore. I think I have at least one video up on him. Anyway, after that there was talk of independence from Great Britain, and the surprise, surprise, New York, New Jersey, um, Pennsylvania, and South Carolina were adamantly against independence from Great Britain. They wanted to remain under the crown. So there was a lot of deliberation going on and discussion, and finally um, there was the introduction, or the thought of independence by all, and there was a discussion. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this here because it's 4.5 minutes already, and then I'll move on to the Declaration of Independence.